Control players denied.
Hey Control Nation, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dr. Red. In this video, we are reviewing all of the attack locking cards, which are cards that prevent your opponent from using an attack, the board prevention cards, which includes ability lock and your opponent advancing their board state. It's also a conglomeration of all the different oddities in Control that really don't fit into any other special category, and also damage prevention cards that will just wall off your opponent. Use the chapters to find what you like, and I'll be adding some commentary on deck lists and ideas you might try. Please add your own in the comments. Also, I want to thank the channel members, the arborists. Thank you for your support and in making CPU what it is. And thank you to all the Discord members who keep the conversation going. Without further ado, let's get started. First, we have this lovely full art Dolliv. Apply oil, 40 base damage, 1 grass, 1 colorless energy. During your opponent's next turn, if the defending Pokemon tries to attack, your opponent flips a coin. If tails, that attack doesn't happen. Not really useful right now, as Arboliva doesn't have any especially good cards, although we are getting Arboliva EX and Destined Rival, so you might see this there. Eiscue EX, Scalding Block, 160 base damage for 3 water energy. Discard an energy from this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon can't attack. You could use Baxcalibur to charge it up and Power Glass to get the energy back. This is a meme card, doesn't see any play. Frosmoth, you might see it in the Pauper format. Freezing Chill, 100 base damage, 2 water energy. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't attack. Really annoying if you can't get out of, say, a retreat lock with Calamitous Wasteland. Iron Bundle, Refrigerated Stream. This card is one of in a lot of decks for its Hyper Blower ability, but really, its attack says if the defending Pokemon is an evolution Pokemon, it can't attack during your opponent's next turn. Doesn't see any play for its attack, though. Octillery, Smokescreen Shot. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon uses an attack, flip a coin. If tails, that attack doesn't happen. Meme card, Quaxly, Apply Gel, same thing. This is using Quaquaval EX, but it's meme card. Seadra, another card that doesn't see any play. Blinding Ink, 50 base damage, 1 water, 2 colorless energy. During your opponent's next turn, if the defending Pokemon tries to use an attack, your opponent flips 2 coins, and if either of them are tails, that attack doesn't happen. Again, you can see this with Baxcalibur, maybe you might use it in a Kingdra EX deck with Seadra here as the middle evolution, just to give you another option. You might also put Relicanth in there. Vanilluxe, this is paired with Serena EX. The Frigid Room ability. Your opponent's Pokemon that have 40 HP or less remaining can't attack. This automatically shuts down Badoo and any of the baby Pokemon. So important to keep that in mind. Also, any Pokemon that you can get a lot of damage out very quickly. Maybe Charizard EX, not that you would pair it with that, but anything that can deal a high amount of HP but not quite KO, Vanilluxe is worth considering. Walrein, really fun meme card. It's its own archetype. I also got it to work in Tatsugiri box. Frigid Fangs for 60 base damage and 1 water energy. During your opponent's next turn, Pokemon that have 2 or fewer energy attached can't attack at all. Not just the defending Pokemon, but any Pokemon on the board. So if Dragapult EX uses up all its energy, it's not attacking. This includes new Pokemon that come into play as well. So if your opponent puts down a new Pokemon and plays Crispin, it's not going to work. Oranguru, Plotter's Command. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. During your opponent's next turn, that Pokemon can't use that attack. This type of attack lock is really fun to use, but it's actually pretty easy to get out of. And if your opponent has 2 attacks, they can just use the lesser one and just slowly chip away damage. So for cards like Oranguru, it's good to pair with Monkey Dory to get rid of that chip damage. Sandygast. During your opponent's next turn, if the defending Pokemon tries to use an attack, your opponent flips a coin. If tails, that attack doesn't happen. You could use this as the base for Palossand EX, another meme deck. There's the adult Palossand. During your opponent's next turn, same thing. If any Pokemon tries to use an attack, your opponent flips a coin. If tails, that attack doesn't happen. The attack cost here is what turns this off from this card. Medicham Acupuncture. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. During your opponent's next turn, they can't use that attack. Meme card, doesn't see any play anywhere. You might make it in a fighting box deck. Paldean Tauros is the same thing. If the defending Pokemon is a basic Pokemon, it can't attack during your opponent's next turn. Houndoom EX, Evil Claw. If the defending Pokemon is a basic, it can't attack during your opponent's next turn. This is a meme card, own archetype. Pangoro, Torment. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. During your opponent's next turn, that Pokemon can't use that attack. Same deal. Scrafty, Land-based. If the defending Pokemon is a basic, it can't attack during your opponent's next turn. Appletun, Melting Sweetness. This is its own archetype. It's a meme. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't attack. Lickitung Tongue-Tied, same thing. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't attack. Oinkologne, flip a coin of heads. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't attack. We're back to the beginning. Now we are into board prevention. This one will be pretty interesting. We have Delmies, Annihilating Anchor. Before doing damage, discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon. It's part of your opponent's board state, therefore it is board prevention. This is a meme card. Toadscroll EX is its own archetype, often paired with Teal Mask Ogerpon EX and Sinistcha EX, any of those big grass types. Protective Mycelium. Prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to all of your Pokemon that have energy attached. So it's essentially a built-in mist energy, except any energy counts as mist for all of your Pokemon on the board. So you're preventing your opponent from events in their board state with something like poison, etc. Serena Queenly Heal. During your opponent's next turn, Pokemon can't be played from your opponent's hand to evolve the defending Pokemon. This would be good if it wasn't a stage 2 and you could just play Serena EX, although if Serena is your thing, then go ahead and by all means use it. Given that it's a stage 2, it might be pretty hard to get off like late game. I mean, I guess turn 1, if it's your second turn. If you go first, it'd be your second turn overall. You get this off with a rare candy, but other than that, I'm not sure it's worth it. Charmander, Blazing Destruction, discard a Stadium in play. Charmeleon, Flare Veil, prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. Chi-Yu, Ground Mounter, discard a Stadium in play. Litleo, discard a Stadium in play. Chien-Pao, this is a reprint, a functional reprint of Pumpkaboo that was popular in Lugia V-Star. Ability Snow Sink. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may discard a Stadium in play. You can also penny it up and use it again later. Milotic, Lifeboat ability. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may use this ability. Each player puts a basic Pokemon from their discard pile onto their bench. This is a replacement for Mantine and Echoing Horn. It has seen absolutely no play. Psyduck, Overthink. During your opponent's next turn, whenever they flip a coin, treat it as tails. This is paired with the Dangerous Laser Ace spec, where your opponent is confused and burned, so this will lock the confusion in place. Otherwise, it's never used. Seeking, Peck Off. Before doing damage, discard Pokemon tools from your opponent's active. Iron Thorns EX. Quad Thorns wins Worlds in 2024. Initialization ability. As long as Pokemon's in the active, Pokemon with a rule box in play have no abilities except for future Pokemon. So you will put 4 of these in a deck, attach the Future Booster Energy Capsule, use Volt Cyclone, moving energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench. You'll just charge up an Iron Thorns, free retreat it, and repeat the whole process. This archetype is much harder to play in light of rotation because Double Turbo Energy has since rotated, so you have to use Crispin or just attach for turn for 3 turns. It's pretty tricky. It's also used in decks like Dragapult and pretty much any kind of deck that has a stage 2 in it that needs to get set up, like maybe Flygon EX. Just stall your opponent out while you take your time. Ends Joltik hasn't seen any play as of yet, even on the ladder. Before doing damage, discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon. But if you did that, your opponent's active is now paralyzed. Zekrom, discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active. Bronzong, this is the better option compared to Serena. Evolution Jammer, 30 base damage, 1 psychic energy. During your opponent's next turn, they can't play any Pokemon from their hand to evolve their Pokemon. This is compatible with Bayonet EX, Espathra EX, Gardevoir, and a whole host of other psychic archetypes like Alakazam EX. This card just fits in a lot of decks if you want to stop evolution. Espeon EX, Psych out, discard a random card from your opponent's hand, but Amazez is what we're looking at for 1 psychic, 1 dark, 1 grass energy. Devolve each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon by shuffling the highest stage evolution card on it into your opponent's deck. Not into their hands, ladies and gentlemen. No Control Nation. We're putting the card into the deck. So whether they have a rare candy or not, it doesn't just go into their hands so they can just reuse it on a stage 1. They have to go find it anyway. So Amazez, extremely powerful, definitely worth looking into. Probably best putting this with Flareon EX to get the energy, to get energized really quickly. Fluttermane, Midnight Fluttering. As long as the Pokemon's in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon has no abilities except for Midnight Fluttering. This will shut down everything from Stage 2 Charizards to Stage 1 Goldangos and everything in between. It's absolutely powerful. It's used as a one-of in any number of decks. It's sometimes seen in Roaring Moon box with Baby Roaring Moon. I've also seen it in Gardevoir. It's all over the place. Hypno, Daydream. This is a really unique one. During your opponent's next turn, if they attach an energy card from their hand to the defending Pokemon, their turn ends. Now, your opponent could just wait till the very end from taking their actions to attach the energy, but they still can't attack, which is the point here. It's an attack lock in a way, but we put it under board prevention because they can't do anything. They might get overexcited, they might forget, they attach it, oh, now all of a sudden their board can't develop. So you could consider it attack lock as well. We're just putting it here. These types of classifications under board prevention are really flexible. It's also possible you could just KO the defending Pokemon with 80 damage at a time. Anyway, Klefki, another one like Fluttermane, it's everywhere. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, basic Pokemon in play have no abilities except for Mischievous Lock. This was really popular when Rotom V was in the format, shutting down Instant Charge. It's since not seen much play, but it is Splash in pretty much any kind of archetype you can imagine. Lose Rabombi, inviting Wink. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may have your opponent reveal their hand and put any number of basic Pokemon you find there onto their bench. You have Lunatone. If you have Solrock in play, prevent all effects of any stadium done to your Pokemon in play. This was paired with Path to the Peak, which would shut down all abilities on Rule Box Pokemon. This card could definitely see a comeback in light of the new Team Rocket's Watchtower shutting down all colorless Pokemon's abilities, such as Pidgeot EX, so you might see this in Pidgeot decks. Although it takes up a lot of bench space, it is worth it if you're afraid of cards like Team Rocket's Watchtower. Spiritomb, the most useless card in the format. Feather Misfortune, basic Pokemon V in play have no abilities, but Pokemon V are on the F block, which has since rotated to put this on the G block. I have absolutely no idea why. Gastrodon, Sticky Bind ability. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench Stage 2 Pokemon, yours and your opponents, have no abilities. So Pidgeot EX is shut down, Charizard EX is shut down, etc. Has to be on your bench, though. It has a 3 retreat cost. All your opponent has to do is gust and stall you out. It has not seen any serious play. It is a meme card. Gamora EX, another really fun meme card. It reduces your opponent's bench down to 3. And that's it. Yeah. Great Tusk EX, Bedrock Breaker, discard statement play. This was used in Pidgeot EX for a very short time to try to get rid of something like Misagoza and Lugia V-Star. Doesn't see any play now. Swing Growlithe, Blazing Destruction for free. Discard a statement play, but it has 80 HP, so you can't find it on a Buddy Poffin. Ting Lu, Ground Crasher. If a stadium is in play, this attack does 30 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon and discard that stadium. You're going to play this in a very stadium-heavy Frostlass control. So the 30 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon is going to build up slowly over time. Then you'll use another card we'll see here momentarily, Devolution, to get rid of them for KOs. Ting-Lu EX, however, has the ability Curse Land. As long as this Pokemon's in the active spot, your opponent's Pokemon in play that have any damage counters on them have no abilities except for Pokemon EX. So think of things like Baxcalibur and Dudunsparce. If you just put a damage counter on them with Ting-Lu in the active, they can't do anything at all. Paldean Wooper, search your deck for a stadium card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. I was thinking you find a stadium, controls the board. It's worth including just for the sake of completion. Roaring Moon EX, Calamity Storm discards a stadium in play. This is its own archetype. It's also paired with Baby Roaring Moon in Ancient Box. Copper Raja is its own archetype. It's a 4-3 or a 4-4 line. It has the ability Massive Body. As long as this Pokemon is in the active, your opponent can't play any stadium cards from their hand. So what you're going to do is wait for your opponent to use up some resources if you can, but then you're going to use Chorus's Tenacity to go find Neutralization Zone. So if they can't play any stadium cards from their hand, they can't bump Neutralization Zone out of the active. So your Copper Raja is perfectly well and fine. Attach a Mist Energy, and you're avoiding attacks like Roaring Moon's Frenzied Gouging. The problem here with Copper Raja is that baby Pokemon can hit it just as easily. So you might want to attach a Luxurious Cape to give it 300 HP, play some Monkey Dories with the Darkness Energy if you don't want to charge up Nasal Lariat, and just slowly chip away at your opponent. Skarmory, Big Storm, discard a stadium in play. Eternatus, World Ender, discard a stadium in play. If you can't, this attack does nothing. Noivern EX, one of the very best of the damage prevention cards. We are including it here because Dominating Echo says during your opponent's next turn, they can't play any special energy or stadium cards from their hand. We'll talk about this card more later. Aerodactyl's Devolution Ray. If your opponent's active Pokemon is evolved, de-evolve it by putting the highest stage evolution card in your opponent's hand after doing 100 damage. So you could hit Dragapult EX, do 100 damage, it devolves, and you KO the Dracloak that's underneath it. Lickitung, your opponent reveals their hand, put 2 basic Pokemon you find there on your bench. Meme card has sees no play. Minccino, cleaning up this card of the 2 Pokemon tools from your opponent's Pokemon. Those are any tools on the board, ladies and gentlemen, not just on your opponent's active. Pidgeot EX, the late and great Pidgeot. It has not seen much play since rotation, but it's still a fierce. Pidgeot Control is still a fierce deck. This is a 2 of in pretty much any deck you could think of because of Quick Search. Once during your turn, you search for your deck for a card, put it into your hand. But we're here in this list because of Blustery Wind. You may discard a Stadium in play. Also does 120 base damage and has a nice free retreat. Wooloo discards a Stadium in play. Dubwool, Softwool that takes 30 less damage, but Knockover discards a Stadium in play. Antique Helix Fossil, the base of Ammonite and Omastar. Helical Swell, I should say. As long as this Pokemon's in the active, your opponent can't play any Stadium cards from their hand. Accompanying Flute, reveal the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. You may choose any number of basic Pokemon you find there and put them onto the bench. This card is classic bench locking. It was a staple in Block Snorlax, and it will be a staple for anything that uses bench lock as its main strategy or one of the main strategies. Ruffian, a new card from Journey Together. Discard a Pokemon tool and a special energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. This takes the place more or less of Lost Vacuum. There's the card we were talking about, Technical Machine Devolution. Devolve each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon by putting the highest stage evolution card on it into your opponent's hand. So it's not as powerful as Espeon EX, but it is just a tool card. A 1 or 2 of in any Frostlass deck, including the Tinglu that we mentioned, will make you virtually unbeatable if you can play it at the right time after building up enough damage on your opponent's Pokemon. Then we're back to the beginning. Now we have damage prevention. We have Dipplin, Coded Attack. During opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. This card is seen as the Stage 1 on the way to Hydrapple EX, which is paired with Tealmask Ogerpon EX. If you want to evolve into Hydrapple EX, put a Relicanth in your deck, use Coded Attack, and all of a sudden Iron Thorns and Iron Hands EX do not seem so scary. It's basically your anti-basics card. Harden from Metapod. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks if that damage is 60 or fewer. Poltergeist, it does not take damage when on the bench. Rapska, Spherical Shield ability. Prevent all damage and effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to your benched Pokemon. Now, as powerful as this card is, it sees virtually no play because it is a Stage 1, and putting a 1-1 line is not feasible in any number of archetypes. Although, if you are doing a box deck or some kind of quirky control deck, you can easily fit a 1-1 or a 2-2 line in here to stop anything from Dragapult EX to Wellspring Mask Ogerpon EX's snipe attacks. So if you can do that, do it. If not, it's usually just not worth your time. Shelmet, Shell Smack. Flip a coin of heads. Prevent all damage on its Pokemon by your opponent's attacks. Simisage has the Arm Thrust Needle. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage on its Pokemon except by attacks that have an ability except any Simisage. It's a meme deck. It's paired with the other Sage cards. Skiploom on your way to Jumpluff. Drifting Dodge. Flip a coin of heads. Prevent damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. There's the Jumpluff, same thing. It's its own archetype. It's a meme deck. Iron Moth doesn't see any play, but Anachronism Repulsor during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from ancient Pokemon. So if ancient Pokemon ever see a resurgence, this card might be a 1-of in any number of decks, such as with Blaziken EX because of the fire requirement. Dreadnought. Try to get this card to work. It is really, really tricky because you're basically waiting for weakness or something like Charizard EX after you somehow have taken a prize, maybe with a Dusknoir. The ability Impervious Shell states, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon if that damage is 200 or more. Really cool ability, but very hard to pull off the meme deck. Milotic EX is in the Wall Stall archetype, which is paired with Noivern EX, Rigoraph EX, and sometimes Mimikyu, and also Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX. We'll see these cards here in a second. Has the ability Sparkling Scales, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks from your opponent's Terra Pokemon done to this Pokemon. So Dragapult EX is not doing damage to this thing. It's also not putting damage counters on it. Sylveon EX is not shuffling it into the deck. This card is completely impervious to everything that Terra Pokemon do. Hypnosplash also induces sleep, so that's not bad either. So if you're anticipating on facing Terramons, or if you're just afraid of them, put Milotic EX into your deck. Bellybolt Insulator, prevent all damage on this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Lightning Pokemon. Miraidon CODE Protect. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to each of your future Mons by attacks from Pokemon EX. But if it's no longer in the active, this effect ends, so your opponent can just gust around it. Thundurus is Manaphy, but only if it's in the active. Prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. Togedemaru, flip a coin of heads, prevent all damage. Alakazam EX has the only attack in the history of the Pokemon TCG in Dimensional Hand. That can be used from the bench. This attack can be used even if this Pokemon is on the bench. So you're going to put something like what we just looked at, like Milotic or Mimikyu or an Ogerpon, into the active, let it sit there, not take damage, and then you do damage from the bench with Alakazam. This is its own archetype. It's a damage prevention archetype. It can also be used with Lily's Clefairy EX to hit something like Raging Bolt EX for weakness from the bench, while Lily's Clefairy is also sitting there making it weak. So there you have it. Darkspawn EX Wall-Baked Body, prevent all damage on this Pokemon by attacks from fire Pokemon. Espathra, Stance ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may prevent all damage from and effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon until the end of your opponent's next turn. This reminds us of Sanders' Mimikyu V, Ursaluna V, Pennyloop. You put down Mimikyu V, which has the same ability in Stance. It prevents all damage. Then you pick it up with Penny, put Ursaluna V into the active. It has 260 effective HP, and then you just loop it with pennies and pal pads. So that's what you can do here with this Espathra, but you're going to need Professor Turo's Scenario to pick it up as it's a stage 1. Pheasantipity Adrena Pheromone. If this Pokemon has any Darkness Energy attached and is damaged by an attack, flip a coin. If heads, prevent that damage. It's its own archetype. Mimikyu, the ability Safeguard, prevent all damage on its Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's EX and V. It's a staple in any number of decks. If you just need to stall for a turn, let Charizard not do any damage while you get your board set up. It's fantastic. Very easy. This just splash in any deck. Mr. Mime, Mimic Barrier. If this Pokemon and your opponent's active have the same amount of energy attached, prevent all damage on this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. It's a meme card, sees no play. Sylveon has the same ability as Mimikyu just mentioned. You will see this in Flareon or Eevee box decks, just in case your opponent is running an EX. Just put Sylveon out, do 100 damage with Magical Shot, charge it up with Flareon EX, and you're good. You can also see it in Gardevoir EX on occasion. Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX, arguably the most important card in this list. Cornerstone Stance ability. Prevent all damage from attacks done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon that have an ability. Demolishes also the Shred attack. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance or by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So essentially, it's cutting through everything and stopping everything coming at it with an ability. If you're facing Milotic EX, it does cut through Milotic because of what Demolish says, being Shred. So if you're facing a Walls deck and you're playing Walls, it's basically a race to get to Ogerpon first. That's true in a lot of decks. A lot of decks are teching other decks with Ogerpon. The trickiness here is to get it charged up, but that's okay with Crispin in a 1 of fighting energy in your decks. Works just fine. Farigiraf EX is also another staple to Walls, as we mentioned. Armor Tail ability. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's basic Pokemon EX. That includes Teal Mask Ogerpon EX, Terapagos EX, Eevee EX if it ever gets charged up. Any of those, Iron Hands EX, any of those that just want to come up and donk right away. Armor Tail just says nope, and you can sit there and let it stall out as long as you need. Nidoqueen, Queen Press. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage on this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. Aegislash is Mimikyu and Sylveon on a stage 2. Mysterious Shield, prevent all damage on this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX, but like Ogerpon, it has Hard Bashing or Shred. This attack's damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. This is its own archetype. You're just going to see Aegislash paired with something like Baby Tatsugiri and Badoo, and maybe even Transformative Star Ditto. Doesn't really work too well with anything else. You could also see a Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX as a 1-of just in case, and then attach a rescue board, retreat out of the active, get back into Aegislash. Corviknight has Accelerate. If your opponent's Pokemon is KO'd by damage from this attack, it does 50 base damage. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks on this Pokemon. Meme card, sees no play. Jirachi used to see play before rotation. Stellar Veil, prevent all damage counters from being placed on your benched Pokemon by effects of attacks used by your opponent's basic Pokemon. It's not for stage 2s like Dragon Bolt, just basics. Here's Noivern EX. Here's why it's here. Covert Flight, 2 colorless energy, 70 base damage. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. Now, you say to me, Dr. Red, why would I put this card in over Farigiraf EX? DTE has rotated, and I have to get the attack off. Yes, on Grasshopper, that is the main reason why Farigiraf EX is preferred over Noivern EX. Consider this, it is 1 energy less to charge up. So you can do it with a Crispin. It also has a free retreat. So if getting the attack off and the free retreat are worth it for you, Noivern is the card. Otherwise, Farigiraf is perfectly fine in your Walls decks. Kecleon Expert Hider. If any damage is done to this Pokemon by attack, slip a coin, prevent that damage. Kecleon Stealth Attack, exact same thing. Spinda, this is interesting. Teetering Steps makes it confused, and its ability Tangled Feet states, if this Pokemon is confused and is damaged by an attack, flip a coin. If heads, prevent that damage. Staraptor, Tail Spin Away. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage on its Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. Meme card, sees no play. Terapagos is its own archetype, sees tons of play. It's a splashable card in any number of decks like Flareon Box. Unified Beatdown. If you go second, you can't use its attack during your first turn. It does 30 damage for each of your benched Pokemon, but it's in this list because of Crown Opal for 1 Lightning, 1 Water, 1 Grass Energy, 1 base damage. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done on this Pokemon by attacks from basic, non-colorless Pokemon. Not really all that useful, especially for the awkward energy cost, so it's in decks for Unified Beatdown. Neutralization Zone is the Ace-Spec Stadium here. Prevent all damage done to Pokemon that don't have a rule box by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX and V. It cannot be put into your hand or deck from the discard pile, so the Dene Trainer Retrieval is not going to work. You're going to want to use this card after your opponent has exhausted his or her resources. In particular, if you think they have only 2 or 3 stadiums, wait for those stadiums to go away. This card is also pairable with Copper Raja, as it doesn't allow your opponent to play stadiums from their hand. This is a great late game just to stall out a victory. It's also good for archetypes like Great Tuskmill and Baby Okidogi. And we're back to the beginning. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. ABD. Okay, everybody, please take care of yourselves, and may God hold you in the palm of his hand.